Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be looking at r/best of Redditor updates. Now I'm going to warn you at the start, there is a content warning for this one as there is talks of predatory behaviour. So if that is something that you cannot handle, then feel free to dip out now. There are quite a few other videos for you to watch, you know. I had a look earlier and I was like, 240 something? I think it said 240 something anyway. I'm quite surprised. Anyway, if that sounds like something you'd like to get into with me today, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. It's one of those days where I'm up close and personal with the microphone today because, recording late at night again. Yay. So if I sound like I'm lacking energy, I'm just trying to be quiet and trying not to be so loud like I normally am. So this one was posted to the subreddit by Direct Caterpillar 77 and the title is, "How would you feel about your daughter seeing an older man? How should I tell them about him? Final update." Oh, I would flip my lid. Not at my daughter because I'd be like, you've been obviously groomed, but the bloke, I'd be having his guts for garters, mate. So, of course, Direct Caterpillar 77 is not the person who posted this. The person who posted it is on the screen and where it was originally posted. So we have trigger warnings for possible grooming and predatory behaviour, and mood spoiler says, starts horrifying, ends positive. So that is good to know up front, considering the content warnings. So it was originally posted May 26th, 2022. I'm 18 and I've been dating a 44-year-old man for the past 2 months. I beg your finest pardon. No, that's disgusting. Not for the 18-year-old. The 18-year-old has obviously been groomed, let's be quite fair. The 44-year-old man, though, if I found out one of my relatives who's like 44 was trying to hang after an 18-year-old, it's a good job I don't drive because I'd be using them as a speed bump. He was my first kiss and took my virginity. Oh, that's disgusting. What a dirty pervert. I've been telling my parents I'm hanging out with my friends when I'm actually seeing him. They have some suspicions that I have a boyfriend, but probably not that I'm in a sizable age gap relationship. I'm not expecting a lot out of this relationship. I just like older men, and it's more a friends with benefits situation than a serious long-term relationship. For more context, I currently live with my parents, and I'll be headed to an Ivy League, Yale, in the fall. I've always been a good student and a well-rounded daughter. This is to say my parents trust most of my judgment and decisions. I'm running out of excuses to use to see him, especially for overnight stays and vacations. I want to come clean about him, but I fear some backlash, even though my parents are a decade older than him. Should I just tell them I have a boyfriend but lie about his age? Or just keep my head down until I move out? Or just tell them the complete truth? I'm scared of them not letting me see him anymore. I got slightly attached and I really enjoy how he makes me feel. My parents and I already have a difficult relationship, so I keep a lot of secrets. Lovey, do you want to be wiping his ass when you're 40? Seriously, think ahead. Do you want to be wiping this man's backside when you're 40? No? Do you want to be able to live your life? See, this is the thing I don't think people who are that age think about. Consider who you might be in 26 years. What you'll likely have seen, experienced, hated, loved, hurt, and been hurt by. With all that under your belt, would you honestly be able to relate to an individual that hasn't experienced any of it? Would you feel truly connected? Or do you think that maybe those years would have turned you jaded towards the world, and seeking out innocence and naivete was an outlet to either escape the harshness of what you have lived, or a way to try and protect an innocent from what you have lived through? Try and understand what they went through that brought them to a place where they felt entitled to take the virginity of a youth. To be the formative relationship of that individual, to risk ruining all future relationships for them at such a young age just because of their own desires. The most mature thing that they could have done was to not pursue you. But here you are. Keep your walls up, do your investigations. The moment you discover the root of their motivation or the crux of their immaturity, that will be the moment you can truly know who you are. And I really doubt you'll like it. We all want to be desired, but it's important to be desired by someone who has authentic and honest intent, not just out of necessity or a coping mechanism. Meet some of their friends, long-time friends, have candid conversations when their guarded narrative is down. Reassess your worth in their eyes. If their true intent is to give you as many opportunities as possible from the earliest age they could, they probably should have had a child and nurtured it from birth. But who knows? Just enter into what you're already deep into with rose-coloured glasses. But take them off at moments to make sure you still get 20/20 vision. Just because someone else has regrets doesn't mean you have to as well. I mean, I feel this commenter was actually being a little too nice. I think the bloke is disgusting, to be quite frank. Whether he has these intentions of nurturing a young, naive person because they know how hard the world is. Okay, so do volunteering for programs that help underprivileged youth. Don't go trying to bed one, you weirdo. It's disgusting. And I don't care how anyone tries to brush it. Oh, they're 18, they're technically adult. Technically doesn't mean you aren't a pervert. OOP, I really like the way you worded this. I've been crying this whole day. The comments in this thread really made me take a long look at myself, and I'm really disgusted at all the things I've done. I should have been more proactive about therapy. I shouldn't have done these dumb things when I know better. I should, but I don't. Because you're a child, my love. You are a child. You still have a child's mentality. I know I did at that age. Honestly, I thought I knew everything. Oh my god, I know now I knew nothing. I'm just scared of the world. I don't have a lot of people to turn to for help. See what I mean about this uneven power dynamic? They are afraid, and this bloke's come in and preyed on that. It was the perfect storm of loneliness and desperation, and a lot of stress from college decisions, which I thought would make me really happy. But the highs are highs, and the lows are really friggin' low. I'm really disappointed in myself, and I don't know how to not hate what I've done. You shouldn't be the one hating what has gone on here, lovey. You are a victim of a predator. All But New then says, psychologist here, don't beat yourself up. You are an incredibly intelligent woman. Yale? Yeah, even I know that's like a good university. College? Is it a university? See, I would argue it's a university in like our terms. Okay, no need to argue the semantics on that one. Why am I getting on a soapbox about that? I don't know. But yeah, exactly. Clearly not stupid. Clearly not. That doesn't mean you're emotionally intelligent and wise beyond your years. Falling for an older man is exactly what 18-year-olds would do. You have a right to be your age. Chalk this up to a life lesson. It will hurt you for a while. Breakups are tough. You will know so much more the next time around, and you'll be able to empathise with other people who fall for it. That's an incredibly valuable experience. Welcome to New Haven. I'm here too, and enjoy your young adult years. Precisely. I feel really sad that this OP feels like it's their fault. No, it's not at all. It's so, honestly, at that age, like the psychologist just so kindly pointed out, your emotional intelligence is not where it needs to be. So you are an easy-ass target for manipulation. And then Lord Gallen, a mod, says, OP, I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. You've gotten plenty of responses, and I think you can very easily see the common trend among the answers here. Mostly, I'm locking this to spare your feelings further. While I understand the feelings behind many responses here, I think many of them have forgotten that making you, the person seeking help and advice, feel like crap is absolutely not something that should ever be happening on this subreddit. Not ever, never, 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 and for that, I do sincerely apologise. All that being said, I will leave you with my own advice. Age-disparate relationships aren't necessarily bad, it's just that they usually are. Sure, yours might be the 1 in a million that actually works, but those are some pretty big odds stacked against you. I encourage you to take the responses you got here and think on them, long and hard. Many of the responses were indeed sincere and have your best interests in mind. No matter what, you should do what is best for you and not for others. However, as a general rule, if you feel like you have to hide something from people, there is usually a reason you feel that way. Take good care of yourself, OP, and I hope you come back here if you need support again. Hopefully next time, the Witch Burning Brigade will remember that you're not the witch. I hate that there was people trying to blame the OP. Get all the way out of here with that. This poor OP has literally been preyed upon by some older dude. How is it their fault? Update 1, June 2nd, 2022, 1 week later. Note, CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy. It's a treatment approach that helps you recognize negative or unhelpful thoughts and behavior patterns. I wanted to do an update on my last post. I'm very grateful for everyone who shared their wisdom with me. I did not know an internet community could change my life and mindset in such a large way. I broke up with him a few days ago. Yes! Yay! Good. I'm smacking my microphone. I'm excited. And have cut him off from my life. Forever. Permanently. I'm so glad. I am so relieved. I'm restarting CBT therapy again with my past therapist who I really connected with. Each session is quite expensive and has motivated me to cut spending on clothes and makeup, but I think it'll be a small price to pay in the big picture of things. Absolutely. I'm going to pursue healthy relationships once I'm ready for them. Maybe I'll find a cute guy at Yale who can handle this storm. Thank you again, internet family, for saving me a lot of grief and trauma. I was luckily able to make a smooth exit from an imbalanced dynamic. My eyes were open to how I glazed over the issues, gaslighting and love bombing. It's going to be the summer of love, self-love. Good, I'm glad. I am very much glad. And yeah, definitely date someone your own age. When you're 18, you're figuring out just like what relationships even are supposed to be. Let's be real. So going with someone who's had literally years ahead of you of experience, 26 of those in fact, it's just not good. There's no evenness there. There's no relatability with each other. And like I say, it gives the other person a lot of tug against you. So, relevant comments. Esoteric Ocelot says, hey there, I'm going to give you links to free PDFs of Why Does He Do That and The Gift of Fear, which are both easily accessible reads that are total lifesavers and game changers. Now, if you want to find these, by the way, go on Best of Redditor Updates, type in Direct Caterpillar 77, and then scroll down, find the title that was at the start of this, and then scroll through this and you'll find them there too, and you can click on them if you think that's something that would be relevant to you and helpful to you. They'll help you develop more skills and confidence in sussing out people who aren't good for you, so you can populate your life just with people who are. Good on you for making a judgment call and getting some professional support. You've got this, stay safe. So, final update, a thank you to the internet parents community and a message to other young girls. November 30th, 2022, 6 months later. It's the 18-year-old Yale undergrad who dated a middle-aged man half a year ago. More context here, we've just read it. I now realise just how troubling the entire situation is. My time at Yale has been really good, to say the least. Adjusting to East Coast weather was a change, but I formed a solid supportive friend group here, and my baseline happiness is the highest it's been in years. Basically, college is great, and I'm excited for the upcoming years. As I'm maturing and gaining more life experience, I'm looking back on my past decisions with a sort of sympathy and wistfulness. And I didn't know anything, and I still don't, but I was at a really vulnerable phase in my life, and spending time with men who cared much more about satisfying their self-interests than protecting my well-being. I can recognise this now after immersing myself with peers who genuinely care for me and look out for my best interests. People who don't just say they want the best for me, but actively push me towards living my healthiest life. In truth, when I first posted about my much older boyfriend, I didn't fully understand the intentions and meanings behind the comments I received. I was defensive and convinced that I had power in the situation and would be perceptive enough to move on when it came to an inevitable end. What I failed to realise was that my heart was still young and hopeful, and that I would make excuses to justify an older partner's hurtful actions towards me. Issues can occur in any relationship, but in a 20+ year age gap dynamic, it's too easy to place the blame on yourself, as you assume the older party knows better and will act better. It was me who said the wrong thing, who didn't show the right care, me who wasn't good enough to not be discarded after he had his fun. I was and still am young and sweet. I thought I chose to see the best in people and was a better person for that. But in doing so, I neglected my own wants and needs. The men who saw this weaponized my kindness and patience. They saw an easy opportunity to sleep with me and use up my emotional energy for their benefit. And I told myself that it felt good to be useful, and I wanted to provide that for them. And maybe it did in the moment, but it's come crashing down when you realize their true intentions and how little you mean to them when you thought you meant a lot. It's difficult to be a girl, and I am often a lonely and insecure girl still working on healing herself. I didn't want to believe that someone who held me, kissed me, said he wanted everything good for me could view my innocence and trust as a path to access my body and company. It is twisted, and I don't blame the younger me who fell for such traps. I wanted to be cherished and loved, and I didn't know the right place to look, and didn't have people to direct me to something more sustainable and healthy. The sheer humanity shown towards me during that period of my life keeps me hopeful. I was a lost child, unsure of what to do or what was right. I had little guidance, and I sought that in people who I believed I could trust and confide in. I'm very thankful for this community and how it changed my life. I have new things and experiences to look forward to every day, and love and loss may enter that process, but the guarantee I know now is love for myself. Final comments. Reaper says, I remember your post and seeing the comments in your response. I was at the time trying to think of what I could say to get through to you, but honestly couldn't think of anything. So what do you think could have gotten through to you now looking back? That's such a good point as well, because a lot of people, when they're in the midst of it all with someone, especially like a manipulative partner or someone who's definitely predatory, it's so hard to convince them that you deserve better. You need to go and do better for yourself. This person isn't right for you. This person doesn't care about you. This person is using you. And it's very hard to convince someone of that when they're in the thick of it. I can imagine a lot of us have been there with friends when they've been with like an absolute bag of shite partner, and we're trying to convince them gently that this might not be the person for you. And, you just have to wait for them to come around and see it themselves, because they will never take your word for it. And quite often, the messenger gets shot. So, OOP responds saying, that's a great question. I'm not sure. When you're young, you're hopeful and believe you're the exception. Warnings sound superficial until you actually grow to be perceptive enough to realise their weight. I guess the response would be a non-judgmental push to a healthier direction. I did not have a healthy relationship with myself and my appearance. My relationship to myself is worlds better, and that has bled to my romantic pursuits. It's all connected. Honestly, like, a lot of people who are older like that, who go for teenagers, they are only doing it because they know that they have full control over that situation and you have none. And it's really messed up. Honestly, I've had experience with this, by the way. When I was 16, I was meeting up with a guy who was 26. He was picking me up in his car. He knew how old I was, by the way. He worked for the RAF, and he snuck me onto one of the bases. I'm not going to say where, for obvious reasons, because that's going to then give you an idea of near where I live. I don't live near the RAF base now, but I still live in the same county. And yeah, so he used to take me into his room, like sneak me on there, take me into his room. It apparently used to be very easy to get in. Honestly, crazy. But by the time the guy had got what he wanted, he disappeared. Never heard of him again. not a sausage. But like, and for a long time I was like, oh, what did I do? Like, what did I do to put him off? Now, being older, I look back and I'm like, I did nothing. He was using me. And because at the time I was like, oh, this 26-year-old guy wants to like meet up with me, wants to date me. Oh my God, look at me. And I was so flattered and I thought I was so grown up. I was an easy target. And now I look back and I'm like, yeah, you were targeted. And that's so gross. It's crazy, honestly. And it's so easy to fall for it. But do not ever believe the whole thing of, oh, you're just not like the rest. You're just so grown up. You're so this, you're so that. It's bullshit. They want one thing out of you, and once they can't get that thing out of you anymore, or the satisfaction wears off for them, they will be gone and you will not hear from them again. Trust me, it's crazy. So, down in the comments of the Best of Redditor Updates post, so Cheap Rate 8996 gives us some context. So obviously, it wasn't mentioned in the start what these problems were about, how this guy was actually acting. Obviously, we knew a big problem was the fact that he was 44, getting with an 18-year-old. That was glaringly obvious. But there was hints further on that there was some really messed up dynamics there, and they have reposted a very relevant comment from OOP. So, the effed up part seems so immature. Him still trying to F other women while sending me the sweetest messages, all calculated, all very deliberate. Asking for constant nudes, S on command, S on demand. I was eager, but it came at the cost of having to deal with his ups and down moods and sensitivity and general irritability. His family doesn't even really associate with him. Wonder why. They all kind of look down on him. I wonder why. And I used to be so sympathetic to him, wanted to show him the love he deserves. But after going through our old messages and conversations, F his geriatric ass. For not being able to deal with these things on his own and giving a teenager his middle-aged baggage. F him for not being able to take any hint of criticism. He's messed up in the head. Made me think I was going crazy several times too. Exactly, that's all very predatory, groomy behaviour. And it speaks volumes. Even his family, his own family, think he's a wrong'un and want nothing to do with him. So Jay Heyman1 then says, this should have been in the main story. Absolutely, it really should have, but I'm glad we got that bit of context at the end there, because I was wondering, what this weirdo had actually been up to. And I think it's a good thing to know that, and for the OP to share that for other people, for other girls and boys too, it happens to boys too, of that age, in that situation, with someone who's a lot older, acting that same way, so they can see too that this person does not care about you, and you are worth 1 billion times more than these weird, groomy weirdos. Okay, I think that's all we've got time for today. Watch the dislike ratio on this one be interesting. Whenever I do a video where it's some old dude, well, I say old dude like it's only 10 years older than me. But you know what I mean? Trying to get with a teenager and I say how gross it is. It's always interesting that all of a sudden there's a good little handful of dislikes on the video. So hello groomy weirdos who seem to have a problem with that. Whoever you are, it's got to be people who just randomly stumble across the videos, because I cannot imagine that anyone who seems to think it's okay for this kind of dynamic would subscribe to me. I cannot imagine that at all. Because I'm very vocal on my dislike of those scenarios. But yeah, you watch, it'll be interesting. I'll let you know how it goes. But yeah, if you ever know someone who is in this situation, a similar situation, and is of a similar age, send them the post. Go on Reddit, get the post, send it to them, let them read through it, and really let it sink in. But yeah, if you've made it all the way to the end with me, I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, turn your notifications on, I would appreciate you even more, and that's your initiation into the cult of void. Welcome! But yeah, whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye!